let's look at choosing a strategy. This is kind of the juicy one, if you like, but it's actually not as important as you think, which we'll get to in a second. So this really is a whole big topic in itself. And if you're a subscriber to the channel, by the way, appreciate your subscription. You've seen, or probably seen, lots of stuff on strategies and different strategies out there. Kind of some strategies were pulled in just to discuss, some strategies that I've used, I know others use. There's lots of stuff out there. So we're not going to dig into the specific strategy, but what we're doing here is, like I said at the beginning, is that trading plan for me sits in, you've got the whole sphere of your trading plan, and you've got the strategy. So this kind of bolts in within the whole kind of big global plan. So choosing a strategy. So we need to decide, are we going to trade with the trend? So for me, my trend trading strategies are, buying that first pullback, trading with flags, that kind of stuff on kind of momentum ignition, this kind of trades. So that suits me in that environment. I'm not a kind of chug trend trader on a swing trading perspective. I like explosive moves that perhaps will continue for 2 or 3 days, maybe a week, maybe even a month if I'm kind of in a trade and it's working for me after I've got past that initial kind of takeoff phase. But the chugging kind of slow trends, I find it difficult myself to kind of time those on a longer term basis. But some people, that works nicely. And this is what it's about. It's about finding something that works for you. What about mean reversion? So mean reversion, I love the intraday trend reversals. I love fake outs under those kind of solid support. Markets moving, chugs under, fakes out, pushes back up, that kind of stuff. That's my bread and butter kind of plays. I put those in my mean reversion basket and I put them in. So I've got a trend trading strategy and I've got mean reversion. And ultimately, guys, strategies generally fit. There's 3 things you can do in the market. That's it. We don't need to overcomplicate it. You can trade with the trend, you can trade against the trend, or you can stay out. So someone put it very succinctly is you've got inside out trades, and that's trends. In other words, the market's coming back, you're trading for it to go further out. You've got outside in trades, in other words, you're fading kind of extremes for it to come back to a mean, whatever that mean may be. And then of course you've got staying out. That's really all you can do in the market. There's no need to overcomplicate it. So you either decide, hey, I'm going to be trend trader, I'm going to be mean reversion trader, or I'm going to be both. And then we dig in and we put our ultimate strategies in those kind of categories, which like I say, we're not going to deep dive into now, but that's ultimately what we're doing. So we're saying, okay, I've got a list of the strategies I'm employing. That's the way I'm going to do it. There's my trend trading. There's my mean reversion. That's what I'm going to do. I guess the third thing we could have is kind of a news-based trading off that, but even that really is kind of a mean reversion or trend trading. News comes out, and I only say this because this is kind of a big thing for me, is when we have sort of earnings or news, I like to trade price action based on the catalyst or the news that's hitting the market and how price responds. We don't need to go into that right at this moment, but for me, that's a kind of separate strategy, a separate thing, even though ultimately I'm either trading with a trend or I'm trading mean reversion. So maybe there's something for you that kind of fits in there. Maybe that's a specific thing you're working on, within that strategy kind of global sphere. And one thing I want to point out, guys, is that it matters less than you think people may think this is the biggest thing. Oh, I've got to get my strategy right. And yes, you do need a profitable strategy, of course, but it's not as impactful as it appears because we're going to iterate, we're going to change, we're going to develop. We have this foundation. There are profitable strategies out there. We know there are, there are, I've shared some. The point is, guys, is you can't just pick a strategy and say that's going to work forever. The key and sweet spot is to adapt and adjust as market conditions change. And kind of go down a rabbit. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here of back testing and strategy implementation, but as part of this bigger plan, this is a small part. We can bolt in different strategies as we go along. I'm not talking about chasing different strategies, but the bigger plan is the most important thing. This is a small part of the plan. It's less impactful than it appears, guys, because we're going to iterate.